You can't change your partner. You can beg, plead, threaten, or cry. You can twist yourself into 1,000 shapes, shrink your voice, or scream until your throat bleeds. But if they are not ready to meet themselves, they will never meet you, because love is not a rescue mission. It's not a rehabilitation center for the emotionally unavailable. It's not a stage where you perform worthiness in hopes of being chosen. Love is a mirror. It reflects who you are. And if you don't like what you see, the work isn't to polish the mirror. The work is to change the reflection. Carl Jung once said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. So when your partner's silence enrages, you ask, where am I silent with myself? When their distance wounds, you ask, where have I abandoned my own needs? When their chaos consumes, you ask, what part of me is addicted to the storm? Because the truth is, we don't attract what we want. We attract what we are. And if you are wounded, you will find someone who picks at your scabs. If you are healing, you will find someone who holds space for your growth. But if you are whole, you will not settle for fragments. So stop trying to change them. Change yourself. Heal the parts of you that believe love must be earned. Release the belief that suffering is a prerequisite for connection. Let go of the fantasy that if you just love them harder, they will finally see you. Because the most radical act of love is choosing yourself. It's walking away from what hurts, even when it feels familiar. It's setting boundaries, even when your voice shakes. It's saying, I deserve more, and believing it. You can't change your partner, but you can change the part of you that tolerates less than you deserve. You can change the narrative that says love is pain. You can change your life. And when you do, you'll find that the right partner doesn't need to be changed. They meet you where you are, whole and healing, ready to build something real. So stop waiting for them to change. Start becoming the person you've been waiting for. Because the love you seek starts with you. Because the love you seek doesn't arrive wrapped in validation. It arrives in moments when you finally validate yourself. When you stop begging to be chosen and start choosing your own peace. When you stop hoping they'll wake up and start awakening to your own worth. You can't force someone to see you if they're committed to blindness. You can't force someone to grow if they worship their comfort zone. You can't force someone to feel for you what they refuse to feel within themselves. And the more you try to rescue them, the more you abandon yourself. So let them be. Let them stay small if they choose. Let them remain in the shallows if they fear the deep. But you were never built for the shallow end. You are depth. You are so. You are fire and water, light and shadow. And you will not be tamed by someone who only wants your silence. Carl Jung taught us this. The unconscious will rule your life and you will call it fate. That means your patterns, your attractions, your stories, they're not destiny. They're mirrors. They're invitations to look within and wake up. So wake up. You are not here to prove your lovability. You are not here to endure love that makes you question your sanity. You are not here to dim your brilliance so someone else can shine. You are here to transform, to take your pain and alchemize it into clarity, to take your loneliness and turn it into self-intimacy, to take the betrayal and use it as the foundation of unshakable self-respect. The more you shift within, the less you tolerate chaos outside. Because now you know, you don't fix someone to feel safe. You fix the part of you that accepted brokenness as normal. And once you do that, once you begin to truly see yourself, you stop chasing love that requires your self-abandonment. You stop performing for crumbs. You stop trading authenticity for attachment. You walk with power. You speak with peace. You love without losing yourself. And eventually, you won't even feel anger toward the ones who couldn't meet you. You'll feel gratitude because they were the catalyst. They pushed you into the fire you were always meant to walk through. And on the other side, you rose, not bitter, not broken, but reborn, because you didn't change them. You changed you. And that was enough to change everything. And that was enough to set you free. Because the truth is, the one who hurts you isn't the one who breaks you. It's the part of you that stays. It's the part of you that bends, contorts, compromises, explains. It's the part of you that hopes love will fix what only you can confront. You weren't supposed to lose yourself in them. You were supposed to find yourself through the fire they lit beneath you. They weren't your soulmate. They were your shadow's invitation to heal, to evolve, to stop romanticizing dysfunction and start honoring discernment. It's not that they didn't love you. It's that they loved you with the same broken compass they used to love themselves. And you were trying to turn that compass toward you healing when they couldn't even see true north. Let that truth liberate you. You don't need closure from someone who was never open. You don't need an apology from someone who lacks the capacity to be accountable. You don't need their validation to confirm your worth, because real healing doesn't come when they change. It comes when you stop needing them to. It comes when you choose your growth over their approval. It comes when you finally say, I love you, but not more than I love myself. And that shift, that quiet, powerful reclamation of your soul, is where everything begins to change. Your boundaries become sacred. Your time becomes intentional. Your energy becomes guarded not out of fear, but out of reverence. You begin to attract from a place of fullness, not desperation, not hunger, not emptiness. And love starts to look different. It starts to feel like alignment, not anxiety. Like peace, not pursuit. Like expansion, not exhaustion. That's the reward for choosing yourself. That's the reward for not trying to fix them. That's the reward for doing the only thing you were ever meant to do. Grow beyond the version of you who believed love meant stay. You can't change your partner, but you can become someone who no longer accepts partners who refuse to grow. And that version of you, they don't beg, they don't chase, they don't perform. They embody, they attract, they choose, because they've learned the most sacred truth of all. Healing isn't about fixing what's broken around you. It's about no longer tolerating what broke you in the first place. And once you stop tolerating what broke you, you start building what heals you. You build a life rooted in self-respect, not sacrifice. You build relationships that feel like freedom, not obligation. You build conversations filled with presence, not pretending. You build habits aligned with your future, not your wounds. And slowly, everything begins to transform. Because you've shifted from trying to survive love to creating it. Not with force, not with fear, but with truth. And the truth is, you were never too much. You were never not enough. You were just in a space that didn't recognize your light because they hadn't yet faced their darkness. But now you have. You've stood in the storm. You've walked through the fire. You faced your own shadows and called them by name. And you emerged not perfect, but real. Not polished, but powerful. Not dependent, but sovereign. You no longer need to be understood by those who choose confusion. You no longer crave love that costs you your sanity. You no longer beg for closeness that comes with conditions, because you become whole, not through someone else, but through yourself. And that's what real love requires. It's not about losing yourself in another. It's about finding someone who reflects the truth you've already claimed, not someone who completes you, someone who meets you at your level, in your power, without apology. That kind of love can't be chased. It's not built on fear or fantasy. It's not manipulated into existence. It's magnetized by who you've become. And who you've become is not desperate, not wounded, not waiting. You've become someone who chooses peace over potential, energy over history, wholeness over habits. You've become someone who doesn't try to change their partner, because you've already changed the only person you ever had the power to change, yourself. And that's the beginning of everything sacred, everything lasting, everything true. That's when life starts to open. That's when the love you deserve starts to arrive. Because now you're no longer searching from a wound. You're leading from your worth. And when you lead from worth, you no longer audition for love. You no longer play roles in hopes of being kept. You no longer negotiate your needs just to avoid being alone. Because now you understand. Loneliness is not the absence of someone else. It's the absence of your own presence. And when you come home to yourself, even solitude feels sacred. So you stop clinging. You stop begging. You stop trying to resurrect a connection that died the moment you betrayed your own heart to maintain it. You no longer chase what could be. You honor what is. And what is right now is this. You are no longer who you used to be. You are no longer the person who tolerated confusion disguised as chemistry. You are no longer the version of yourself who confused drama for depth. Because you have faced your truth. And your truth is this. You cannot be loved properly by someone who is still at war with themselves. You cannot heal next to someone who refuses to even look in the mirror. And you cannot grow inside a cage, no matter how much you dress it up as love. So you set yourself free. You cut the cord, not from hatred, but from honor. Not from anger, but from awareness. Because love without growth is just attachment. And love without respect is just survival. And you didn't come here to survive love. You came here to expand through it. To become more, not less. To rise, not shrink. To shine, not disappear. So no, you can't change your partner. But you can stop betraying yourself for their comfort. You can stop living in the potential of what they might one day become. You can stop asking someone to meet you in a place they have no intention of going. And instead, you rise. You walk forward. You lead yourself out of the familiar and into the unknown. Not because it's easy, but because it's true. Because finally, you've remembered who you are. And that kind of remembrance makes settling impossible. That kind of remembrance makes self-abandonment unbearable. And that kind of remembrance is what makes you unshakable. Because an unshakable soul doesn't beg for reciprocity. It expects it, effortlessly, silently, and with unwavering conviction. You no longer write love letters to deaf ears. You no longer water gardens in someone else's desert, hoping they'll one day see your worth. Because worth isn't proven, it's embodied. And now you embody it so completely that anyone who can't see it reveals their own blindness, not your lack of value. You no longer plead to be heard. You found the strength to speak once clearly and then walk away from the silence that follows. That's what happens when you become whole. You no longer need someone to complete your sentences. You've become fluent in your own truth. You've become anchored in your own being. And from that place, you see it all so clearly. You never wanted to change them because you hated them. You wanted to change them because you loved them. But love without willingness is nothing more than beautiful suffering. And suffering isn't love, it's loyalty to what refuses to grow. So you release them, not as punishment, as liberation for you, and for them. Because maybe the version of you that loved them was also the version of you that didn't fully love yourself. And now that version is gone, burned by the fire of awakening, reborn in the clarity of your own becoming. This is what real self-love looks like. It's not bubble baths and affirmations. It's not waiting for others to rise. It's choosing to rise alone, if that's what your soul demands. It's breaking your own heart to honor your healing. It's letting go of what once made you feel alive, when it's now what's slowly killing your spirit. And yes, it hurts. God, it hurts to walk away from someone you once would have given everything to save. But you've learned, you finally learned. You can't save someone who's committed to their own sinking. You can't heal someone who uses your love as a bandage for wounds they refuse to clean. And you've cleaned yours. You've sat with your pain. You've faced your patterns. You've chosen discomfort over denial, growth over attachment, truth over fantasy. That's not weakness. That's spiritual power. So no, you can't change your partner. But you've done something even greater. You've changed your relationship with yourself. You've stopped choosing pain and calling it passion. You've stopped calling inconsistency mystery. You've stopped calling chaos chemistry. Now, you choose peace. Now, you choose presence. Now, you choose love that doesn't ask you to lose yourself. And when love does come again, and it will find you not as a performer, not as a fixer, but as a force, unapologetic, unshakable, unforgettably you. And that kind of love, it won't ask you to dim your light. It won't mistake your strength for threat. It won't demand your silence for harmony. Because it won't be based on performance, it will be based on presence. The kind of love you now attract is born from truth, not trauma. It doesn't feed on fear or scarcity. It grows in the light of two people who have both done the work, who have met their shadows, who have faced their own lies, who come to each other not to fill a void, but to share a fullness. Because only when you are full within yourself can love become a celebration, not a negotiation. This is where the old story ends. The story where you stayed because you hoped they would finally choose you. The story where you believed your love could be the medicine for someone who refused to heal. The story where you traded your peace for proximity. Where you stayed because walking away felt like failure. But now you know it's not failure to leave what harms you. It's not failure to choose yourself. It's not failure to admit that love isn't always enough, not when it lacks accountability, respect, or safety. It is strength. It is sovereignty. It is sacred clarity. And from here forward, everything you choose must align with that clarity. If it doesn't, you will bless it, release it, and return to your center. Because now your center is home. Your truth is non-negotiable. Your peace is priceless. And your love, your beautiful, boundless, healing love, will never again be wasted trying to save someone from themselves. You know now, you can't change your partner, but you can choose again. You can love differently. You can love yourself first. And when you do, when you truly embody that self-love as a lifestyle, not a buzzword, you stop attracting lessons in pain. You start attracting reflections of your power, your peace, your purpose. And that is what real love was always meant to be. Not someone who changes because you beg them to, but someone who meets you in the mirror of your own healed heart, looks you in the eye and says, I don't need to change to be enough for you, because you never needed me to. You only needed me to be whole, just like you are. And that is the love that was waiting for you all along. On the other side of your courage, on the other side of your boundaries, on the other side of the moment you finally said, I can change you, but I can change everything by changing me. And when you finally make that change, not out of anger, not out of revenge, but out of deep reverence for your soul, you don't just heal from a relationship. You heal the part of you that kept repeating it. You break a cycle, you rewrite the pattern. You become the interruption to generations of inherited silence, codependence, and self-abandonment. You become the one who ends the story of shrinking to fit. You become the one who ends the story of fixing others while ignoring yourself. You become the one who ends the story of needing someone to choose you, because now you have already chosen yourself. And that choice, that quiet, irreversible choice, it echoes in your boundaries. It echoes in the people you now attract. It echoes in the peace you no longer apologize for. It echoes in the love you give and the love you receive. Because now, love is no longer a performance. It's not a prize. It's not a battlefield. It's not a chain. It is truth. It is freedom. It is the sacred dance of two whole souls who do not complete each other, but expand each other. And to get there, you had to walk away. You had to let go. You had to grieve the fantasy and embrace the reality. You had to become the kind of person who no longer waits for permission to be free. So now you don't settle. You don't explain. You don't shrink. You don't chase. You become. You rise. You choose. And when love meets you now, it won't be confused by your fire. It won't fear your truth. It won't resist your clarity. It will recognize you. Because finally, you no longer seek to be saved. You no longer need to be changed. You've already done the work. And you don't just know what love is. You've become the kind of person who can actually hold it. Because real love isn't about what you can get from someone. It's about what you can create together when both people show up as their truest, most honest selves. No masks, no manipulation, no control disguised as care. Just truth and presence, and two people who have done the inner work to carry their own weight, so no one has to bleed for connection. This is the love your soul was starving for all along. Not the fantasy, not the chaos, not the drama dressed up as destiny, but the real thing. Love that doesn't ask you to lose yourself. Love that celebrates your wholeness. Love that shows up with action, not just apology. With consistency, not just charisma. With integrity, not just intensity. And you're no longer afraid of being alone, because you are no longer lonely within yourself. You fill the void with truth. You've sealed the cracks with consciousness. You've replaced the ache with awareness. So, even if love never shows up again, you will never abandon yourself the way you once did. That is your liberation. That is your return. That is your arrival. And if love does come, and it will not find you waiting. It will find you walking, living, leading, breathing in alignment with the highest version of yourself. Because you don't need love to save you. You are the salvation. You are the miracle. You are the evidence of healing no one else could give you. You were never here to fix anyone. You were here to become the kind of person who no longer betrays themselves to belong. You can't change your partner, but you can change the kind of love you allow. You can change the standards you live by. You can change the story you tell about what you're worthy of. And when you do, you don't just change your relationship. You change your entire life. So now you stand at the edge of everything you once tolerated and everything you never allow again. Not because you've hardened, but because you've awakened. Not because you've stopped loving, but because you finally learned to love yourself first. You can't change your partner, but you've changed your center. You've changed your energy. You've changed your entire frequency. And now, the world must meet you where you are, or be left behind, because your time is sacred. Your peace is sacred. Your love is sacred. And you will no longer place it in the hands of someone who hasn't earned it with presence, purpose, and equal power. This is your moment to rise, to remember, to reclaim every ounce of yourself you once gave away just to be seen. You don't need to be seen anymore. You need to be met. And you will be by someone who doesn't want to change you, by someone who mirrors the truth you now live. But even if they never come, you are no longer waiting, because now, finally, beautifully, fully, you are enough. You are home, and you have become the love you were searching for all along.